Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boscheman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. I don't know how we got here, but September has arrived. So this year has seemed to go by really, really quickly, but here we are in September. And so we're going to take a look at the individual life path numbers, the forecast for September 2023 in this episode. Before we get into that, this, of course, is a general reading. If you would like a personalized reading, please book some time with me. My information is in the description box below. I would love to take a look at your personal numerology and let you know what I see. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. Life Path 4. So we have some interesting energies that we're working with throughout September. So we have the vibration of the 2. And then we also have the animal wisdom message coming through from Black Panther. And so there's a lot coming in about relationships, relating to other people. And that's not just romantic relationships. That's the whole spectrum of relating to others and how we do that and how we collaborate, how, vulnerable we are, how open we are to receiving other people's experiences, ideas, whatever the case may be, but there's definitely sort of a magnifying glass being put on our relationships this month. And again, how we're showing up to those relationships and how we're collaborating with others. How open are we to that collaboration? How open are we to doing things differently than what we have our minds set to? With 4 energy, there can sometimes be that rigidity where it's like, okay, it's a very solution-focused energy. So we see the solution, we're going for it. But a lot of times that can we can exclude sort of external perspectives because we can see the solution, so let's go for it, right? But that oftentimes will create a situation where we're working harder, not smarter. And we can't necessarily get the best results that way. And so you might find this month that you're being asked to be more open to working with others, listening to others' ideas and perspectives, and coming up with solutions that also take into account those other people's experiences and wisdom and expertise, right? And assistance. That's another thing. With 4 energy, a lot of times we are so independent that it's hard for us to ask for help. And so you may find that you're kind of put in a position this month where you need to ask for help and then figure out how to receive that help in a healthy way. Because though, 4s are amazing and we can do a lot of things, we're not meant to be an island in this lifetime. Nobody is. And so you may find that there's opportunities to collaborate, work with others, gain new perspectives, think outside the box a little bit, be a little bit less controlling when it comes to trying to control the outcome, and being a little bit more comfortable with sort of surrendering that outcome and working with others to achieve whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. And I'm not saying that 4s aren't great at teamwork and all of that. Of course we are. But it can be, once we get something set in our mind, it's our way or the highway type thing. Not always, but and I am a 4 as well, so I'm allowed to say that. But there is also something here, especially with Black Panther energy coming through, because this is like Queen of Wands energy. And this is kind of like, that sort of fire energy of like really owning your space and being very like aware of how you are expending your energy, who you are allowing into your circle, who you're spending, who you're putting your energy towards, the relationships. And that's really what I want to focus on, because there's definitely something here. When I think about Panther energy, I think of like this stalking kind of energy, like stalking its prey type thing, right? And what I gather from that with this month for us is to be very discerning in how we are showing up to our relationships. And that's not just us being vulnerable or us, showing up in a way where we're collaborating and all of those things. But it's also like, us taking a closer look at, what connections are we committed to or very loyal to? Because 4 is a very loyal energy. What are we very loyal to or very dedicated to? And it doesn't have to be relationships, but we're in a 2 cycle, so I'm kind of keeping that focus there. But what are we dedicated towards? and loyal towards, that our heart is not in, that we are not receiving an equal exchange of energy. And that can mean, when we really take a close look at it, maybe we don't want to take a close look at it, but when we do take a close look at it, then that can mean, okay, we need to modify, we need to make some changes, we need to solidify this foundation, because right now there's a lot of cracks. And so this month could mean taking a closer look at what are those relationships where you keep showing up and you're not getting an equal exchange of energy, or your heart is no longer in it and you're strictly continuing to show up because of loyalty or responsibility or obligation. Because I can say that that's not sustainable. And so you would need to modify that in a way so that you're either having some kind of healthy conversation with that person to say, this is what I need, which of course to do that means you need to be vulnerable, right? But this is what I need. Are you capable of showing up in that way? And they may or may not be, and we have to be prepared for that. And if the answer is no, then it's our responsibility to make those adjustments. And that may mean needing to release some connections. And that doesn't mean it has to be done in like this, dramatic way. It can just be like, okay, I'm not getting what I need out of this connection. And chances are, if you're not getting what you need out of the connection, the other person is not either. And so it usually goes two ways. So, or they're getting what they need, but not in a healthy way, right? And so it really does benefit all involved to have those conversations and then to make those modifications. And so I do think that this month, fellow fours, we're being asked to really be discerning about, our connections and the people that we surround ourselves with, or the people that we open up to, or the people that we do work with, that we put our name behind, or whatever the case may be. But those connections where it's like we're strictly showing up out of obligation or requirement, as opposed to our heart being in it. And that's the thing with four energy, is it's so heart-centered. It's very much meant to be intuitive and follow that intuition and follow that heart center and that deeper inner knowing. And, I think, a lot of fours, especially a lot of clients that I've worked with that are fours, and I can say it for myself as well. It's like, we are so solution focused that, again, we get sort of fixated on that solution to make everything better, that we're going towards that, solution, and we're very loyal and dedicated, but our heart, left the building 2 years ago or something like that, right? So we're just keep going towards something that our heart's not even in. And so again, we're building on someone else's dream and not ours. So it doesn't have to be that dramatic, right? I mean, this might not even be for you. It's a general reading, right? But if there is an area within your life, career, relationships, anywhere, where it's like you are continuing to show up and continuing to give and continuing to dedicate your resources towards, that you don't even really want, then you are living somebody else's dream and not yours. And so, Panther energy coming through, this 2 energy coming through, is really asking us to be more discerning and really be very clear about what it is that we want. And that's going to force us to take a closer look at those relationships or those connections that we surround ourselves with, including business partnerships, right? Like you might have one vision and your business partner has another vision. What's the solution, right? And it can't just be your solution. It's got to be the solution for everybody involved. So I know I'm saying things that, fours already know, but it's just kind of like, I feel like this month is going to sort of really put the pressure on us to be very honest with ourselves about where it is within our lives that we keep showing up and keep showing up and keep showing up. And we're just not getting an equal exchange of energy. And so why are we still showing up? So this month, come back to your why, especially around relationships, and especially around things that seem to be out of balance. And so that's where, again, if it's not an equal exchange of energy, when it comes to your work, maybe you're showing up to a job and you're so dedicated to that job, you've been there for 30 years, but the pay is not a direct reflection of your effort put forth, then that is not an equal exchange of energy. And that's a conversation that needs to be had. It's all of those areas, right? Anywhere that there's imbalance, anywhere that you are showing up in a way that is putting out more than you're getting back, because then again, it leads to depletion. It leads to resentment and frustration and feeling stuck. It's almost as if you begin turning your wheels and you can't move forward. And so this month may be some sort of hard truths to look at, especially if it's around relationships, right? Especially if it's around long-term relationships. So really, I feel like this month, Panther energy, the 2 energy is going to ask us, what do you want? And what are you showing up to at this time that you're not getting the same in return? It's not an equal exchange of energy, and you're only committed to it because of that very like driven, like dedicated, loyal energy, right? Because whatever it is that we are loyal to, whatever it is that we are choosing to invest our precious time into on this planet, we need to be getting something back. We need to be getting an equal exchange of energy, or it's just not sustainable, right? So, and also, we don't want to be building somebody else's dream for them. That's their job. We're meant to be building our own dream. And so, so big energy this month. But I do think relationships are going to come in pretty heavy. It can also be, you meet a soulmate, you meet a soul connection that's going to assist in some way. It can be that very lighter, beautiful energy as well. But with Panther energy coming in and just knowing that sort of very dedicated, loyal energy that's sort of at the core of 4 energy, I really do think there's something here about discernment and just being very honest with ourselves about where we sort of extended something because we want to control that outcome, as opposed to having those honest conversations and releasing what needs to be released so that we can move in a direction that's much more aligned and in balance with our destiny, right? Our own progression forward. So I'm right there with you, 4s. I hope it's a great month for us, and I'm sure it will be because we're magnificent. I'm just kidding. All right, take care, everyone. Bye for now.